Feds have seized Backpage.com, the #1 website where pimps sell underage children for sex. This has been a long fight, and the first step was to get a bill to hold the site accountable through the House and through the Senate. It did, thanks to a bunch of moms, survivors, filmmakers, politicians, and advocates. And here's just a small window into their fight.
How were these children sold repeatedly on a website 24/7, on the hour, by the hour? How is this happening in the United States of America?
It doesn't just damage the victim, it damages everything and everybody around it.
This is not hidden in the deep, dark web. Click, and within 15 minutes, you can have a child delivered to your home as easy as ordering a pizza.
That man who purchased her from Backpage beat her, strangled her, raped her, and then cut her throat. If I would have known what was really going on the internet, maybe I could have educated her differently. But unfortunately, she didn't make it.
Yvonne Ambrose's 16-year-old daughter, Desiree, was the light of her life. Ambrose says she was smart, made good grades, wanted to be a physician in the Air Force. One day in November 2016, Desiree disappeared. 4 excruciatingly long weeks later, Yvonne's phone rings.
To have someone call you and say that they found your daughter is a parent's worst nightmare. You pray that they don't get caught up with the wrong people. You keep them in every single activity, after school activity. She was involved in every sport. She was a great student. And they found her.
Changing the law can change the world.
Today, Yvonne and hundreds of moms, survivors, filmmakers, and advocates are going to fight to try and hold Backpage accountable. But first, let's take a quick look at the size of the problem. Every year, 300,000 children are lured into being sold for sex in this country.
This is not a child here or there. This is an epidemic.
The average age, 15. It happens everywhere. More than 70% are sold on Backpage. And a U.S. Senate subcommittee report projects Backpage will make as much as $250 million next year. But how is this legal?
It's legal because Backpage is protected by a 20-year-old law called the Communications Decency Act. All websites are, even ours. It means that Backpage can't be held liable, nor can we for anything that other people post on it, like, let's say, a comment, a picture, or even an ad to sell children for sex. In this example, Backpage isn't liable for the ads on their site that sell children for sex because they didn't place the ads, a third-party pimp did. They just gave that person a platform and they make millions off of it. So, lawsuits trying to make Backpage pay get dismissed. That's why these women and men, including Yvonne Ambrose, are on Capitol Hill to try and push a bill to change that. If it passes, it would make Backpage liable for knowingly, and that's the key word there, knowingly help to sell children online for sex. And then people like Yvonne Ambrose could possibly sue them for restitution and win.
Free speech advocates say that could open the door a crack for people to sue all sorts of websites for things other people post.
I, for one, as an advocate for free speech issues and for small startups, I get it.
Sasha Moss is a lawyer with R Street Institute, a think tank that believes in limited government.
Creating new laws with stronger burdens isn't necessarily the way to do it when we already have a toolbox full of ways prosecutors can get at the bad guy.
This crowd will soon mobilize and hit the offices of senators and congressmen and women one by one.
They're being sold, much like property might be sold.
This is Senator Rob Portman, a Republican from Ohio. He says Backpage is more devious than you might think. He says they don't just sit by and collect money. He says they work with pimps to create ads that won't tip off the cops that the girl or boy is underage.
When someone would send an ad in saying, cheerleader or schoolgirl, they would go to the person purchasing the ad and said, you need to take that word out, but still place your ad with us.
Because they make money off of it.
Because they make money off of it.
We reached out to Backpage to check on all of this. We emailed, we called, and we didn't hear back. A quick note, fighting Backpage It's nothing new. Founders Michael Lacey and Jim Larkin, along with Backpage CEO Carl Ferrer, were arrested in California in 2016 for conspiracy to commit pimping and other charges. The case was dismissed 2 months later. Lacey and Larkin issued a statement that said, in part, as the federal courts have said time and again, there would be no internet if websites were liable for user content they neither created nor posted. Back to this fight.
Yvonne didn't have that opportunity.
In the front row, Kubicki pride, her emotions so raw it might overflow any second. Unlike Yvonne Ambrose, Kubicki still has her daughter, but just barely. Her daughter, who wants us to call her M.A., was sold on Backpage in 2009, and Kubicki bought her back. Ever since, it's been a struggle to keep her home and keep her safe.
I wouldn't care what she ever did or what was ever done to her. There is nothing that she could ever do that would make me feel any less love for her. I love her unconditionally, and I will fight to the end of the earth for my kids.
Go in, introduce yourself, explain that we're anti-trafficking advocates from organizations from across the nation.
I don't know.
Fighting this for a long time.
8 years.
8 years.
8 years.
You're never going to give up.
No, I'm not going to give up. Like, I made a promise to my daughter that, I was going to keep fighting until the laws in the United States were changed, because there's no reason kids should be sold for sex here.
Kubicki has a meeting scheduled with Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer. When we get there, he's not there. She leaves a packet.
And I thank you so much for listening to me today. You have to understand, at 13 years old, my kid was taken and tied down and given drugs. Given a lot of drugs, like interventions. She's been beaten, and she's had so much done to her. I don't know how she will ever recover. The trail of damage and tears, heartbreak, and lives is what says that this is wrong. And America, our Senate, our House, they have to see things our way so that we can get this law changed, so that they deserve a chance.
As the minutes tick past, this scene plays out at different offices with different faces throughout the House and Senate. Yvonne Ambrose says 24 hours in Washington can effect change.
That's why I came to DC. I came because they probably look at the news the same way I used to, as, oh, it just happens in other countries. But no, this wasn't just like in my backyard. It came to my home. This ruined me.
Yvonne says there's no other way she would have wanted to spend this day fighting for Desiree.
Hour by hour, not even day by day. We're still hour by hour. What's next? I'm gonna continue to fight. She's gone now. She doesn't have a voice. She can't fight anymore. As a mother, I'm gonna fight for her. I'm gonna fight every day until I take my last breath.
And the bill is now waiting for the president to sign it. We'll be right back.